Internet, hello you absolute lovelies. I have seen one of the most anticipated trailers of the modern day. I have seen the Avengers Doomsday trailer, and I want to share with you all of my thoughts. I am here in Las Vegas. I am just getting out of the Disney Cinemacon panel, and I've got a lot of very comic-centric thoughts for Avengers Doomsday because it is very boldly a very comic-centric trailer. This trailer features characters from 25 years ago in the X-Men. It features the new characters that have just joined the MCU in the Fantastic Four, in the Thunderbolts, and most of all, it features some of the most iconic characters in modern cinema, the Avengers. Now, as a comic fan, to see the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and our generation's X-Men, the 2000s X-Men, all come together before, inevitably, I think the X-Men don't make it, and in fact, in the trailer, there is an incursion event in Eyeline. I think Xavier literally sees an incursion in the trailer, but to see all of these generations of heroes is incredible. And what's even more incredible to me as a movie lover and a comic lover is that we're to the age of cinema where the language is so that you can just dive in to having the Fantastic Four meeting the Avengers in a trailer without the need of explanation. You can have a shot of Xavier looking out a window at an incursion event, which is a very deeply nerdy thing in the world of comic books, and have it make sense with the storyline. And this is Doom's trailer. We've had 4 different trailers, and they're not even trailers, they've said. They are story elements. They're vignettes. They're elements of Doomsday. We don't know exactly how they're going to pertain, but we've had 4 of those now. None of them featured Doom. So we've had this trailer looming over us, much like Doom himself, this ominous, foreboding thing we're waiting for. And now with this trailer, we get our very first moment with Doom. Now, Doom is played by Robert Downey Jr., who is iconically known to us in this universe as Iron Man. It is Robert Downey Jr. He is, however, an actor who can do anything. This is Charlie Chaplin. This is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This is a guy who's done a lot of other things, most importantly, Oppenheimer. So as someone who respects his work as an actor, I've been very torn about this because Doom is one of my favorite characters in comic books. Doom is one of the best characters, I think, in that whole medium. And so I felt very conflicted and continue to. I want to say this trailer does put me at ease, but I felt very conflicted and continue to feel worried that we're losing the integrity and sanctity of one of the most important characters in the medium by using a casting that is going to garner clicks and conversation. But if he lands it, that's the magic trick, because then you prove that you can have this multiversal thing where you can actually separate the artist from a role that is as synonymous with him as Iron Man. And I will say this trailer, his voice is really incredible because there's this gravitas, this grit, this intelligence, this malice, but it all feels very distinctly not Iron Man. One of my biggest concerns with this marketing, the marketing's been amazing. This is actually one of my favorite marketing campaigns because we're talking about chairs 6 months later, because we're talking about little details all the time. We've got little 1-minute things that feel like you're flipping through different comics in, a spinner rack. All of that is working for me. And now with this first trailer that is so awaited, we do have our first taste of Doom, and it doesn't feel like Iron Man. I can very confidently say it doesn't feel like, oh, look, a different iron suit. Now it just looks like Doom. This feels different. His physicality is different. The actual silhouette of Doom is very imposing. There is a scene in this that has Thor coming up on Doom that is intercut through the sequence and lands in this really incredible mirroring shot of him fighting Thanos because, history rhymes. There's this really cool moment, and you do feel the presence of Doom. You feel the arrogance, you feel the malice, and all the other things you hear in the dialogue, but you feel it in his physicality, and it feels nothing like Iron Man. There's a few shots of his eyes through the mask that also do not feel like Robert Downey Jr. One of I think the best performances of all time, comic movie or no, happens to be a comic book movie, and that's Heath Ledger's Joker. And the testament to me of that performance is there's one scene of Heath Ledger not in the Joker makeup, and there is no glint of Heath Ledger in those eyes. Here in this trailer, we only get a couple seconds, but I can very confidently say I did not see Downey Jr. in those eyes, and the voice gives me a lot of hope in this character. I'm still a little reticent because of my love of Doom, but I'm more cautiously optimistic than I was before this trailer. Now, a bit of a breakdown on the trailer. I want you guys to get to experience it as much new as possible, but I know if you clicked in this video and you're 4 minutes in, you do want to hear my play-by-play of the experience. The trailer opens with Xavier's school. The trailer is a voiceover of Doom at first, and like I said, it sounds incredible, but it very quickly switches into Thor. I love that Thor, when written by Marcus and McFeely, and especially when written by Marcus and McFeely and directed by the Russo brothers, has this combination of the Kenneth Branagh Shakespearean Thor and the action Thor that we get in the Russo brothers film. There's this balance of tone between grandiose Shakespeare and action star, and I think that's why you cast like Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth is Extraction, but he's also able to add a bit of levity to things in a very interesting way, and this take on him feels like the Thor we've been wanting. This feels like a reason to do a Thor 5 if they choose to. If you've seen the 1-minute segment of the Thor section, his dialogue about legacy and calling out to his father and protecting his child, all of those things are very clear in this trailer. It's a trailer where he's discussing the importance of this particular battle and how every battle that came before this, basically every Avengers, everything that has been mentioned in the MCU to this point, is nothing compared to the threat they face now, and that if they don't come together now, it will all be for nothing. And then on top of that, he's saying we're about to go through something that no one else has ever gone through, and it will basically make us brothers and sisters. This will bond us together if we in fact survive. So that to me is a different kind of Avengers, right? Like, we've seen the Avengers bond, we've seen all these things. There's a really interesting theme here of family and found family coming together through this bond of battle, which does tie into Thor's earlier narration. But again, the writing is so good because you're getting these clips of Shuri interacting with other Avengers. You're getting these clips of the Fantastic Four meeting the Avengers for the first time. You're seeing the Thunderbolts. You're seeing Sam Wilson as Captain America alongside these new Avengers, and you're feeling the weight of all this, but it's all set to this theme of we will be brothers and sisters if we find this, if we survive this, if we come to this. And then that's when you see the doom moment of Thor interacting. But after that, there's a weight to it because you're like, well, if they survive this, and then they say they need a miracle, and then you got this great buildup of where everything comes together, and right at that moment, there's a pause, and you don't see who Thor's talking to, and then you hear, hey, pal, and it's Chris frickin' Evans, looking nomadic. He's got a nice flowing mane. He's looking very much like Infinity War Chris Evans. He definitely feels like he's been doing his nomad thing. I think he will have come from the Infinity Stones being dropped off. I think this is a Chris Evans who has gone through time. I think that Thor is surprised to see him because the last time he did was when he was going through time. I think we will get some of that mission just from this one glimmer of the trailer. I think a lot of our fan theories of the character being the version of him that has just survived that time travel drop-off is going to be integral. So that moment, awesome. My highlight of the trailer I haven't even mentioned yet. There is a shot, it's very brief, of Shang-Chi fighting Gambit. And Gambit looks so comic accurate. He looks so perfect. And him fighting Shang-Chi is all the things we love about Destin Dino Cretton's action directing style, but with Channing Tatum's physicality. Channing Tatum's Magic fucking Mike. Channing Tatum moving like that while fighting someone like Simu Liu in their both physically commanding ways and both in their own unique style of Gambit and Shang-Chi respectively is captured in a couple seconds, and then it transitions into Rebecca Romaine, who is back as Mystique and who is incredible in these couple seconds, looking comic accurate, having the white suit, the splash of red hair across the blue, all of that transforming into White Widow. This is what we dreamed of as kids. This is a 25-year-old 2000s era X-Men transforming into one of our newest Avengers, the lead of Thunderbolts, one of the newest movies we just got. That transition is her power, but it's also an acknowledgement of legacy, an acknowledgement of time. It is Channing Tatum, who was supposed to be cast all these years ago, who's finally getting his fair shake at the character, getting to fight Shang-Chi. All of this in 2 minutes, all of this giving us doom, giving us hope for the Avengers, all of this feeling like an event worthy of these years we've waited, all of this feeling like a culmination of phases 4, 5, and now 6, like the Avengers are supposed to. This feels worthy of the Thunderbolts, the Fantastic Four, and all this coming together. It feels worthy of Doom, which is something I was afraid I wouldn't be able to say. I think it looks pretty incredible. It does definitely still have me paused because Doom is so important to me. It does still worry me that we're doing all of this in, I imagine, a 3-hour movie without movies that are directly setting it up in the same quite synchronistic way as Phase 1, 2, and 3. But I think they can make the events of Thunderbolts and the events of Fantastic Four effectively do everything they did in Phase 1, 2, and 3 to give us the Avengers film we want. I hope you get to see it soon. I hope you get to feel this feeling I'm feeling, which is relief at Doom, and also the excitement, the sheer joy of a first Avengers trailer when it's been this many years, the sheer joy of seeing these characters, if you've read comics as long as I have, the sheer joy of, even if you've just watched these movies, it is right now, as I'm recording this, mid-April, which means in about a week, Iron Man came out 18 years ago that day. Iron Man is 18 years ago in a couple days. We've been on this journey for long enough it can vote. So whether you read comics or not, these characters mean a lifetime to you. And that all comes together in Avengers Doomsday, and this trailer captures a lot of that importance. So I want to give it its flowers. It was something really special. I hope you enjoyed this commentary. I have a lot of comics to recommend if you enjoyed this trailer. I have a lot of things to recommend if you enjoyed this. Please share this, leave a comment. I didn't plug this stuff at the top because I wanted you to just dive into the trailer with me, but subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. I have a lot more to say about it. I'm probably going to do a live stream in the next couple days, but I wanted to get my thoughts out there. I appreciate you. Avengers Doomsday is coming. They didn't move the date. 12/18/26 is Doomsday. It is going to be a hell of a winter this Christmas. It's all crazy. So like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.